English translation, 33rd contact. Friday, 12th of September 1975, 10:57 hours.
You have tried to call me several times yesterday. Unfortunately, I could not respond because there were very important things to do which tolerated no delay.
I realized that too, since you brushed me off so easily. What did you have to do then that was so terribly important? I too had something which seemed important to me. On the night of Wednesday, the 10th of September at 20:45 HRs, we observed a very large orange-red colored object. Seen from my house, it seemed to have about a 1.2 to 1.4 meter diameter, and it clearly was a spherical-shaped object. After a few minutes, the thing disappeared into a black and apparently artificial cloud. Then at 21:15 HRs, I was able to see the object towards the southeast again. The object's light was very bright this time, and it painted the sky a very strange violet-red-blue. There was enough light from this for me to be able to film the object, which jumped around like a wandering light. Then it suddenly dropped very low and simply hung in the air near the Bakhtal Hills. I was also able to film that. Then it shot like a bullet towards the east, and then abruptly returned and came very close, and began to pulsate in a strong light. With this, the sky lost its peculiar color, and then the object started jumping around like crazy again. I was able to film it again, but then it vanished from the viewfinder. Once again, I was able to get it back into the frame and continue filming. I only hope that the film comes out well, but I will only find out after it is revealed. What I am wondering about now is this. Was this object a beam ship? Was it one of your own, or a foreign object? If it was one of your own, why did you let it appear so openly that it could also be seen by others? And why do you suddenly come around here with such large ships, since you told me that you would only come here with large ships in the event of an emergency? That thing must have had at least 600 to 700 meters of diameter, if I estimated the distance between me and the ship correctly, which should have been around 20 kilometers at most. Last night I observed the object again at 21 HRs as it hung in the air very far away, in the vicinity of the Rigi mountain. This mountain is visible from my house in the southwesterly direction. What is it now with this object, and why does it float exactly here in this area?
That was precisely the reason. We were so busy with this object that you observed that I really could not talk to you and had to ask you to wait. The object which appeared yesterday and the day before yesterday was the same that you had already photographed on the evening of the 20th of April. This, however, was not a beam ship, as you assumed, but a small spaceship. It also did not belong to us, but to other and rather unfriendly intelligences. These strive very much to interfere with our work, and maybe even to destroy it. They have been particularly interested in you for months because they want to get you into their custody. The reason for this is the following. These intelligences are striving to bring the planet Earth and its humanity under their sovereignty. For this, they make use of very unfair means and do not even shy away from human abductions. They are one of those groups which operate with the earthly religions and which successfully profit from it as unenlightened earth humans get into connection with them and become religiously influenced. Misled by these intrigues, the deceived contact persons then work unconsciously for the evil purposes of these troublemakers, and step by step they slowly bring them closer toward their goal. Namely, the goal means the domination of the Earth and of the Earth humans, which these intelligences have already been working towards for thousands of years. Unfortunately, the deceived ones often come out of their silence and spread the religion-induced misguidances that these ill-intentioned liars have given to them. And they achieve great success through this, as you already well enough know, because the Earth human is exceptionally strongly trapped in unreal religious paths.
That is known to me, but what does this have to do with these birds? To which group do they belong? Are they perhaps members of the Pyramid Moles?
If you mean the Giza intelligences, then I confirm it.
I almost came to that conclusion from your words, but what do these guys want from me then? You already told me that they were a danger to me.
They surely are a danger, and a very large one which you must not underestimate. They know the history of your life and your task very precisely. They know that you must enlighten humans as the prophet of the truth, and that you must bring back the true spiritual teaching. This represents an enormous danger for them, because through it, the modern-age human will sooner or later abandon religion and will then seek the true religion in association with the religion, because they will, in other words, find and recognize the real truth. As a result, these evil intelligences would naturally be hindered in the execution of their domineering plans, and their very long-term enterprises would be put into question. Their previous mode of operation, to secretly work with the false religions, was and still is their only way to achieve their goal and to appear as gods and angels. They do not have another possibility, because they know very well that if they were to take dominion over the earth and its inhabitants by force, the earth folks would recognize the truth and rebel against it by all possible means and fight back. A war would become inevitable, but this is something that these intelligences could not afford because they number only a few thousand beings. Their technology is very outdated, and they must fear the terrestrial explosion weapons in every respect. Because of this, nowadays they would even be less able to involve themselves in a war with the Earth humans than they would have in previous times. Their only possibility is to drive humanity into the final madness of their religions, in order to appear as gods and angels and take over the dominion of the earth for themselves as they once did before they were displaced again.
Girl, that is great. Then perhaps there will still be some pretty nice fireworks one day.
This possibility is still open, and it all depends on whether the Earth human will embrace reason in religious matters or not. We have already been striving for a long time for a termination of the progress of these intelligences, and we are also capable of putting them in their place. For a few months now, they have been trying to abduct you to stop you from promulgating the truth. With their appearance, they hoped that you would let yourself be tempted to move to a convenient place for them where they could kidnap and deport you. Therefore, be very alert and do not let yourself be enticed into making unwise moves. We do monitor these evil wishers, however they are equal to us in certain things, and we have our hands full with them. Practice therefore the most extreme caution, because they truly do not shy away from any scheming.
Those are some really nice prospects, but I will be careful anyway.
Sure, with that you also unburden us a lot. Continue doing as before and only come to my contacts if you are properly protected.
Of course, I always have my artillery with me.
That is very good, because this equipment is a very good protection for you.
You make me smile, girl. This is no equipment, but a simple pocket artillery, a shooting iron.
It is a gun.
You and your damn logic, let me have my fun. I think that when I write this conversation later, some folks will become excited, because many cannot understand that one can walk around with a deadly weapon.
That is only a matter of reason and of observation of the laws of nature.
Tell that to the dear Earth humans. It would be better if these things were not written down. There are simply too many, and ever more false humanists and do-gooders who think in completely wrong ways regarding the laws of nature, as well as about self-defense and the true humanity, and the true humanesses, and so forth.
It would be wrong not to put these words in writing. Besides, these problems only become such if they are not understood. As such, an explanation is justified. The laws of nature teach that only balance corresponds to the rightful course of life, as I have already explained. A forcible action only finds its balance through forcible non-violence. Forcible actions, however, occur in endless forms and types, in very small and in very large measures. A forcible action can never be broken through a proffered peace or be settled otherwise. A forcible action which has been settled through a proffered peace continues to boil beneath the surface and will one day break out as a forcible action again. The negative can never be defeated through the positive, or be subordinated or settled through it. This can only be done through a neutral positivity, through a balance. This entails in itself positive and negative in equal parts. So therefore, a forcible action must only be performed through logical forcible nonviolence in a natural balance, and a forcible action that is executed against another forcible action must not be equally negative or positive as the one which is being fought or tackled. It must be neutral positive and balanced, thus a forcible nonviolence. The laws of nature teach that each life that poses a threat to the continued existence of others or of similar life forms should be destroyed if it exerts degenerated forcible actions. The human life forms, however, are Vsin, who are mighty with development-capable thinking, by which they are able to delineate their own rational laws in compliance with the laws of nature. Through these, they are given the opportunity to evade the total elimination of life forms by bringing them to a safe place of detention, from which the degenerated ones are deprived of every possibility of returning to society, as well as from the multiplication of their kind. Under certain circumstances, however, there are always exceptions where these kinds of laws cannot be brought into use, and therefore there must be a return to the pure laws of nature, if the order is not disturbed in their operation, but obtained through it. Under certain circumstances, the complete elimination of the life forms in self-defense cannot be excluded, if a threat to the life and existence can only be averted thereby, and it comes down to the maintenance of the continued existence of other life forms, as long as they live in correct form. This representation and application of the laws of nature, however, can only occur in a purely logical form and in absolute self-defense, and with a precise knowledge of the use of the laws of nature. This requires a vast knowledge of the laws themselves and their application, which is the case with you. The application of the laws of nature is also given in your case, if in your mission you have to strive against these evil-minded intelligences for your protection. We will, however, be very vigilant and steer the events. Therefore, from your side, it is only necessary to maintain extreme caution and to be ready for any situation in which you will have to fight back to preserve your life adequately and within the frame of the laws of nature.
So you do not think that there could be a single incident in the whole story?
The probability does not indicate this, but caution and readiness are appropriate.
I understand. So it is just a matter of exercising caution and remaining alert, nothing more.
Sure.
Then it is no different from before. I only have to protect myself against this new aspect as well. And that may be a good thing to do. But in this context, I'm interested in something about which you may be able to give me some information. The pyramid guys kidnap folks when that fits into their interests. A few days ago I read something about such abductions, according to which, especially in the Bermuda Triangle, folk are supposed to be being abducted by extraterrestrials in large numbers. This is said to have been the case for many years, and a certain Mr. U.V. Bernus from Gut Wustefeld, 6441 Atzelroad in Germany even explains in an article by the number 13 of the Neuen Zeitalter, New Age, from the 23rd of March 1975, that the extraterrestrials working there are practically spawns of Satan. Contrary to this, a few weeks earlier I received an article about these events in the Bermuda Triangle from a group member. In this article, the events in that place where folk and even entire ships constantly disappear are attributed to a certain piracy of the high seas. Are you now informed about these things? And if so, how does the matter behave?
I am aware of these occurrences, but they are not in the least mysterious. Tracing back these events to alien powers is truly nothing but nonsense. Sure, there are certain things in the Bermuda Triangle that are related to extraterrestrial intelligences, but not in the asserted way. The thesis that Satan-like forces and forms of life are at play actually only arises from religious fanatics who seek in all inexplicable events satanic powers in order to make a secret or an event explainable to themselves. Firstly, Satan is only an imaginary product of your Christian religion, and secondly, this imaginary figure embodies neither darkness nor blackness as is claimed, but light and the power of the radiation of truth. The events in Bermuda and the Bermuda Triangle are traced back to completely natural things. First and foremost, this place is a very suitable place for deep-sea piracy, as you call it, and such piracy events take place there again and again. On the other hand, this area is naturally very endangered by gases rising from the seabed, so that many ships sailing in this area suffer breakdowns and often sink into the sea with the whole crew and passengers to never be found again. But certain circles use these Bermuda Triangle events in a religious sense and to their own advantage, and clothe them in satanic powers. For about 2 decades, these events, which so far remain inexplicable for the terrestrial human beings, were additionally exploited in other forms by certain religiously dependent and unclearly working groups of ufologists who attributed the events to extraterrestrials. For them, these events were a found meal to feed credulous individuals with untrue and dishonest statements by inventing fantastically dark, satanic extraterrestrial powers which are supposed to be responsible for the events in the Bermuda Triangle. What could be more obvious in terms of religion than this measure because, like the unreal religions themselves, ufology had to have the form of a Satan in order to keep its believers in check. Since ufology was built on a religious basis and only functions in this form, it inevitably had to create 2 powers in this respect, namely good and bad, black and white, divine and satanic. This was all the more successful as the extraterrestrials cannot defend themselves against such machinations because it is not within their competence. On the other hand, however, a resistance is not necessary for them either, for such machinations gradually die out again, for the truth can never be concealed and always comes to light again. For many, however, as insane as it may sound, these unfair machinations mean a path of evolution through which they can work their way to the truth. The paths to commit to the truth are very difficult and very diverse. So if humans are religiously biased, they have to struggle their way through such a religious path to bring themselves to certain activities, in order to gain the necessary knowledge at the appropriate time and to recognize their previously wrong behaviors and thinking. The events in the Bermuda Triangle thus correspond to a purely speculative form if they are associated with extraterrestrial intelligences. You should be aware of that.
I almost suspected something like that.
Then the facts are clear. In the future, you will now have the task of writing down many facts of the actual spiritual teaching. As soon as possible, I will send you the rest of the report of the trip so that you can tackle this new work. The time has come for you to spread it, which will be a very hard job for you.
I'm already used to this.
Sure. Now my time is up again because I have other duties to perform.